All right. Well, this is very exciting. It's not often that you get to talk to one of the best players in Major League Baseball, and the way in which I kind of linked up with the one and only Blake Snell is pretty damn amazing. We shall get to that in a second. Of course, he is the 2018 Cy Young winner. He is a member of the San Diego Padres. For the longest time, he was a member of the Tampa Bay Rays. One of the best pitchers in baseball, one of the stars of Major League Baseball, regardless of position. Blake Snell here with us today. Blake, how are you? Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
This is tremendous. So I have a lot to talk to you about. I do want to get into the story of how we first met a couple of weeks ago. A lot that I want to ask you about. But first, just off the top, and hate to start on this note, but I feel compelled to do so. I understand that someone that you knew recently passed away from the Rays organization,
Yeah,
Jean Ramirez, I believe his name was.
yeah,
And so I just wanted to send you my condolences on that. It sounds like a horrible story, and it seemed like it hit you. It hit you hard. So my condolences to you and to everyone who knew him.
yeah. No, it was definitely tough on a lot of us. So I was able to talk to guys that were all close, that I was close with over there, and then that were all close with Gene as well. So definitely tough, still is, but just gotta. He's where he wants to be, and gotta support him in that. And it sucks, but it is what it is.
Well, much respect, and again, my condolences. That news just came out, so I just wanted to say that to you. I've been watching you for a long time, and I have to say, I was very surprised when one day. Do you mind if I tell this story how we met?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
tell me. There's nothing wrong.
Um, I'm just looking at my Instagram, and it's not even like the main DM like account thing. It's like the cesspool account. When I guess it's the people that you don't follow, because at the time I wasn't. I don't follow a ton of athletes because it's always just like wake up, workout. Here's what I'm doing, and it's not very compelling content, as you know. And I
Yeah,
have a DM there from Blake Snell, who I know very well. I know of, not personally.
yeah.
And the message is basically like, "Hey, man, I think you don't know who I am, and that's cool, but I just wanted to give you props on, your verbal beatdown of Dylan Dennis." And I was like, wait a second, is this really Blake Snell of the Padres, Cy Young winner, reaching out to me? I couldn't believe it. And yes, it was you. And so can I ask you why, why
Yeah.
did, my 10-7 of Dylan Dennis compel you to reach out to
Uh,
me?
well, it's because every time I see Jake Paul fight or McGregor fight, or I see guys that are like doing stuff, and like he'll talk crap about McGregor's opponents because he's riding McGregor's success, and then he's dogging Jake because all his success. And it's like, bro, you're doing nothing in the meantime while you're dogging everyone that's trying to do something. And it's like, and you're not fighting anybody, you're not doing anything that you're, super talented at. And you say you're the most talented grappler and striker, and but I haven't seen him do anything. So when you call them out for not doing anything, it's like I loved it. So I'm like, if you're gonna talk about it, just go do it. Like I'm not saying like, oh, I know how to fight or like anything like that. I'm just saying like if you're good at something and and you're gonna talk crap to other people that are actually doing it, like go do it. Stop talking crap and doing nothing to back up your words. So when I saw you just go off on him, I loved every second of it. Because he's
Well, thank you.
always in everyone's comments just
Every
talking crap.
Anytime ESPN or SportsCenter will post anything related to those guys, it's there, right? It's like, I don't
Yeah.
know how he has notifications just based off of Jake Paul stuff, but I just had enough. And some people ask me like, oh, like, okay, why'd you do that? Was it necessary? You're a journalist. What good came of that? This came of that.
Oh,
So I do think it was worth it.
100%. And it's like, and he's just like everywhere, always talking crap about people. Like, bro, build someone up one time. Like, say something nice to somebody.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to be the villain. You don't have to be like, bro, just be like a regular human. Like, stop. He's just always like what Jake Paul's done. Like, at first, I'm not even gonna lie, I didn't like Jake Paul. And then what he's done, and like how confident he is, how much better he's getting every time. And like, bro, Tyron Woodley is legit. And he knocked him clean out. And I'm like, you gotta respect that. Like, you don't have a choice at that point.
So then I come to find out, as we just kind of saw there, you're a fight fan, and I kind of feel like
Yeah.
I know of most of the people in sports, like in the regular normal
Mhm.
sports, who like MMA. I did not know that you were a fight fan. So how long have you been watching MMA for?
Uh, I mean, I would say I really started to get into it around like 2013.
Oh
And,
wow,
um, yeah, I remember like when I really started watching it was Anderson Silva when he broke his leg on that kick to Weidman,
yeah.
and I was devastated. I was like devastated. But I don't really post about watching UFC. I just like I watch it with all my friends. We go to like whoever has the biggest like projector screen. We go there and then we all just watch it and just kind of hang out. And yeah, but I've been watching I'd say since 2013.
And you follow it, like, are you just watching the pay-per-views? Or are you just watching select fights or fighters? Like,
Just
how
guys I like.
just
Yeah.
guys you like?
If I see guys coming up that I like, I'll watch them. If I see fights that I know are going to be like an all-out brawl, like the matchup is insane, like it's two strikers or it's two grapplers, like, and I'll definitely watch that. But when I know like, oh, like this guy's winning for sure, then I won't watch. Like I'll watch this fight because I think Davis, like the UFC 270, I'll watch that because I think Davidson's going to win. His energy and the last fight against Moreno, he was just different. It wasn't him. It wasn't like that cockiness of like confidence of like that. Like I felt like he was almost like trying to let him win. It was weird. Like I didn't like watching that fight. I'm not saying that he did that, but I think Davidson is. I think he's insane. And then I
He's a
think
beast.
Gon, yeah, and I think Gon has a shot against Francis, and I love Francis, but I always think that, and then the champion does what the champion does. So we'll see. But I think he has a legit chance.
I don't know if you follow it this deeply, but one of the interesting storylines going into the Ngannou fight is his contract,
Yeah,
free agency, all this stuff. This is all kind of new to MMA. Do
yeah,
you take an interest into that because you live in the world? Like MMA fighters dream of a situation like baseball players and basketball players have with revenue sharing and collective bargaining and all that stuff.
yeah.
Do you pay attention to that? And if so, do you think the MMA fighters deserve a bigger piece of the pie?
I do. But again, they gotta like get a union together, and they gotta like. There's a lot. I mean, it's gonna take a while. You're going against Dana, who knows everything about that whole company, and he knows how to manipulate. He's just so smart. So it's like you could try to say it, but again, then he's gonna come up like, well, what are you bringing in? Like, how popular even are you? Like, are we making money like with you fighting? Like, when he says that stuff, I'm like, like you need to get a good lawyer. Like
Right.
because he's gonna ultimately what he has to do is dog, his fighters. Like he has to, because he has to beat them down to where, they can't hype it up so like everyone believes like they need money. He has to make it look like, no, this is why I'm paying him what I'm paying him. It's fair. So I mean, Dan is a smart man. I do think they need to get paid more, but again, it's like they have to earn it too. So I feel like if you're a popping guy like McGregor who brings in all this money, Nate Diaz brings in all like the guys that get their name up there, yeah, then you do deserve it. But you just became champion, so I do think you need more than what you were getting. But keep winning, and I feel like you'll just keep getting more and more money. But they definitely need a union, 100%.
Who are some of the guys that like you find out that they're fighting? You are
McGregor, no matter what.
yeah.
Diaz, no matter what. Masvidal, I love him. Even Covington, I love Covington. Usman, love him. Israel.
The man. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just like he's the coolest dude I've ever watched. Like he is who he is. He's confident beyond belief. He does things that make no sense. I'm like, that's just so cool because like that's who he is, and he's like fine with that. I think Israel like, and then his fighting game, like even when he lost to Jan, and he went up, like he learned so much from that fight. So I'm so excited to see him like continue on past that and see how much he's going to gain. So yeah, I mean, Israel's my guy right now because it was Silva early on, and then yeah, once I saw Izzy coming up, I was like, all right, this is my guy. And then I didn't like Usman to start because I really like Woodley, and then I love Usman now. And then I like Sean O'Malley because he talks, but he backs it up, and he's like ultra confident. So I
I have
love
to
that.
I have to ask, you mentioned Woodley. What was it like for you to see him get knocked out like that?
Yeah, he just doesn't have that same confidence. And
Yeah.
plus, like him boxing, like he has hands, yeah, but even when he was champion, like he was always known for like, like kind of running, dodging, grappling. Like he never was really like sitting there like throwing the whole time, from what I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Could be different. I mean, this is your everything. This is just what I watch for recreation. But yeah, I mean, I know he has hands. I know he's a great fighter, great competitor. But seeing him get knocked out, I hated that. I hated everyone that he's knocked out. I don't like, but I respect Jake for what he's doing because no shot I would ever do any of that.
Would you ever consider? Have you ever considered training?
Training, yeah, but like fighting, nah.
No.
I get cleaned. No, those guys different animals.
We just saw Darren Williams and Frank Gore do it.
Yeah, what they say
Boxing.
after? What they
Yeah,
say
he's there.
after?
It's like done.
No, I'm
um,
not trying to. I'm not trying to act like I'm a macho man. I just enjoy watching.
on the teams that you've been on, like, have there been guys that you all come together, like, even if it's you're playing a 7:30 game right after you guys are watching the
Yeah, well,
pay-per-view in the
watch.
clubhouse?
Joe
Yeah.
Joe Musgrove's huge into that.
Wow.
Bregman's big into it, so I'll text Bregman from time to time. But I talk to Musgrove about it a lot. I mean, yeah, me and Musgrove talk about it the most, and then Ryan Weathers will talk about it with us. There's some other guys, I can't remember the names, but a little group, we'll talk about it. Like, if there's a big fight going on, like, we're all talking, we're all going to watch it.
So we were just talking before you came on about the fact that you teach younger kids how to pitch, right?
Yeah.
Is this something that you've been doing throughout your career, or as you get older, you feel like giving back? Because I mean, I can't imagine you're in your prime, young kid learning from a big leaguer. I can't imagine a lot of guys are doing this right now.
Yeah, it was just something like, I don't know. I just wanted to help and like make kids better because I started seeing like when I was playing, I didn't see a lot of, like guys from my area. It's always like Cali, Dominican Republic, Texas, Florida, Arizona. Like all those areas are kind of baseball places. And everywhere I go, I see like my teammates and other guys. He was like, oh yeah, he's from my city. He's from my city. I'm like, I ain't got no one from my city. Like the closest thing I got is Conforto. And then after that, I got Souza, and that kind of trickles down, and that I know of that are in my area. A lot of them I really don't know of. So then I was like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna start training these kids at a young age. Like, it's my like responsibility to start helping the Pacific Northwest, like, get better talent and teach them what I know, and I know a lot, and I feel like I have a lot of information to share to help these kids, and just develop them and build them young to where they have an idea as they grow up to like what the right thing feels like. So then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it every Tuesday. I'm gonna give 5 to 6 hours of my time away, and I'm just gonna do these pitching lessons, help the kids, and all the money that I make from it goes back to Showcase to help kids that can't afford it. So,
Wow.
Yeah, so the kids that can't afford it and can do it, all that money goes back to kids that want to do, hitting lessons and Showcase Sports, where I do it out of, they find the people that they're gonna, give money to and let them use that.
And one of your students on this particular day is from my hometown of Montreal, coming all the way from Montreal to Seattle.
Yeah, he said he was like, he's a super big fan, and this is like his dream, and it's kind of crazy to hear that because I don't really look at myself in that light. I play baseball. So when I heard that, I was like, okay, like usually it's just a 30-minute session. I said, hey, I'm coming at 3:30, coming all that way. I at least got to give him an hour of my time just hanging out and talking.
Wow.
So he's coming out, and then we're going to do an hour session, and then we're just going to hang out, talk. And if he wants to stay and watch and just hang out with me, I'm going to allow him to do that.
Wow.
But yeah, like I said, he doesn't know yet, but I'm going to tell him, like, as long as you want to hang out with me today, you can hang out with me.
Man, respect. Yeah. How old are these kids? Like the range?
I think that kid's 13.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
Well, that is incredible. That's the thing. Like, and I remember this from, we'll get into the Twitch stuff and all that, but correct me if you feel otherwise. You don't come across as the typical big leaguer. And I mean big leaguer when I talk about MLB, NBA. Like, one of the reasons why I went to Syracuse University to become a broadcaster in 2001. And when I got there, I realized, all the kids there want to be the same thing that I want to be. They all want to be the next Bob Costas or Marv Albert, traditional sports guy. And also I started to realize that, the athletes in these other leagues, NBA, like I watch everything. They're so boring. Yeah. They talk in cliches. They don't tell you anything. You, with Twitch, but even like when you showed up after Game 6 in 2020 and all that, like you're just a real guy and you don't speak in cliches. You wear your heart on your sleeve. You don't worry about what people think. I feel like athletes are so guarded and they don't make for very interesting interviews and content. Do you agree with all of this? And is there something in your mind that you told yourself, like, I don't want to be like those guys when I'm coming up? I don't want to be that kind of athlete?
Well, like early on, I was that guy. Like I was always doing that. I was like, God, I hate interviews. Like I hate doing them. They're so boring. They're not fun to me. And every time I talk, I just told the media what they wanted to hear, and it was
Mm.
boring and terrible. And one of my teammates, he was a veteran guy, Tommy Hunter. I'll never forget. He's like, "Bro, my mom watched that and said that was the worst thing she's ever listened to. Like everything, like just he was dogging me. He's like, bro, you are hilarious. Just be yourself." And I was like, okay, like I'm gonna do that. And like as I've done that, like I've had instances where like, like I've said like the slap dig prospect, and that went all over the place in the baseball world. And I've had moments where I've said stuff and like I had to listen to it, but it's not even bad. Like it's just people talking about what I'm saying. I've had people where I said like I got to get mine. Like they take my words and they're like, "This is all we heard," and they blow that up. And then I was like, I really just don't care what people think. Like I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna have fun. I know I'm a good human. I know I'm a good guy. So like in the end, all of this is gonna fade, and then the real's gonna show. So then I said like I'm just gonna be me. I'm gonna like I started doing Twitch, obviously just to connect with people and like let my fans know like, yo, I'm exactly like you. I'm nothing different. And then when they started messaging me, I started like really interacting, getting to know them, like where they're from, who they are. And then they're like, just the impact that I had on them, I was like, yo, that's why I won't stop doing Twitch. Like there's moments where I'm like, oh, like it's a lot of time. Like I just want to do nothing. But then I'm like, what it means for these like the people that watch and show up, like it means more than me just being lazy for the day. So, and then I just started being myself through Twitch, and then the interviews got way better, and I was more just myself, and I was fine with that. But it took time to get there.
All right, we'll get back to my conversation with the great Blake Snell in a moment, but I do want to tell you about our good friends over at BetterHelp. You know them, you love them, I love them. I'm so proud to be in partnership with them because they are truly great people who offer a great service to one and all. As you know, I've been talking about therapy and mental health and all that stuff for the past year plus. It's very important to me and it should be very important to you as well. If you think you might need some help, then I want you to visit my URL at betterhelp.com/AHS. Why? Because BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. They'll connect you in a safe and private online environment, and you can start communicating in under 48 hours. With BetterHelp, you can send a message to your counselor anytime, receive timely and thoughtful responses, and if money is tight, BetterHelp is more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is also available. What's better than that? Best of all, anything and everything you share is confidential. I want you to start living a happier life today. As a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting our sponsor at betterhelp.com/AHS. Again, that's betterhelp.com/AHS. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health today. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/AHS. Please support them because they support us, and please support yourself as well. Thank you, BetterHelp. Now back to my conversation with Blake Snell. I actually think there's a case to be made for the Twitch stuff, bringing the real out in you and making you comfortable in front of the screen.
Yeah.
Have people tried to deter you from doing Twitch, whether it's like the teams, people around you, like, oh, this is too much behind the curtain? Like, I can't imagine in the 90s when I was growing up idolizing ball players that I would have this kind of access to them. Have people tried to tell you not to do it?
Early on, yeah, but since then, like now that I'm more of a veteran player, I still feel young, but they call me a veteran. They're not gonna tell me anything now. So, but early on, like when I was a rookie, I was like their voice can impact more to where now, like it still can impact. I'm listening to what you're saying. It's not some older, more successful that I'm not gonna listen. Like I'm gonna listen, but no one says anything.
I was working for ESPN at the time, filling in on ESPN radio when the "I'm going to get mine" thing blew up,
Mhm.
and so I remember that vividly. In retrospect, do you regret saying that? Do you feel like it was taken out of context? For those that don't recall, this was like May of 2020 when.
Oh, like
But
heat of COVID. Like COVID just started.
I mean, it's just like you were the face. You were labeled as like the inconsiderate athlete who doesn't care about the pandemic.
Yeah.
There's no vaccine is not even in sight. We're like 2 months into this thing. Every sport is shut down. And here comes, the Cy Young winner saying, "I'm getting mine while, playing Twitch." And this thing
Yeah.
exploded. Um,
Oh, blew up.
what was that
And
like for you? And do you regret it?
I don't regret it at all. No, because what I said was correct. That's what ended up happening. So I didn't get upset about that. I get upset at what they clipped and put out there, because if you listen to the rest of it, like, it's what happened. So do I regret the part of where I said I want to get mine? Yeah. Like, yeah, but when you listen to the whole thing, no, I don't. So it's like that little part, yeah, it doesn't sound good. It sounded bad. And to see what COVID's done since then, like it's not, it's terrible. But when you listen to the whole thing and like what I was explaining, no, I don't regret that.
Did you get in trouble, for saying that from anyone?
The Rays got on me a little bit, but it was more just like, yo, that was the first time I ever knew what like a death threat was, or like,
Wow.
yeah. And then
You
I
got
remember,
death threats for that?
yeah,
Gee.
yeah. And I
Wow.
was
I
like,
mean,
whoa. And then, yeah, like everyone was calling me like, like a bunch of just censored names. And yeah, even Stephen A. Smith, like a lot of people were saying stuff. And I replied to a lot of people, a lot. I was like, let's have like this debate. Like, I respect like why you feel that way, but like I had the real clip and I sent that to him. I said, listen to it and then let's talk. And every time I did that, like they're like, oh, like you're a good guy. Like it just got brought. And then, so then I stopped doing that. And then when Stephen A. Smith said something, I was like, bro, you're just like, he's just always on the next like hot topic trying to just yell. So I lost a lot of respect for Stephen A. after that. And then I watched all his stuff since then. And I just like, I can't do it. I'm like, you're just yelling and you're just talking over people and not allowing them to talk. And when he said that to me, and then when I got taken out of the World Series game, he was like, oh, I feel bad for Blake and I'm on his side. And I was like, bro, not even like 6 months ago, you were dogging me, telling me to shut up and just listen and like not say anything. And like now you're like on my side, like, oh, I feel terrible. Like, what? I hated that. I was like, that's fake. Like, it's two different sides.
mm-hmm.
So I didn't like that.
When all that happened, was there a part of you that's like, I don't want to do this anymore? Like, if it's going to get me in trouble and bring this death threats, screw this.
No. I was like, you know what? I'll just keep streaming. People come in, they'll talk, but
Okay.
I can back myself up plenty. So I don't need like they can come in and hate. You're coming into my community of people that back me, and you're like 10 people trying to talk crap to a whole community that has been built on just love and just having fun with like enjoying each other's company in that moment. So when those people come in, I would dog them, clean them up, and then by the end of it, we're like friends, and they're like on my side, like, and just making the community stronger. So it didn't like, I wasn't like scared to stream again or anything like that. It was just like what was said was obviously not what I meant at all, and in the way that I did mean it, just they didn't clip that part.
I bet your fellow teammates loved it. I bet they all agreed.
I'll tell you what, a lot.
I bet they showed you love behind the scenes.
Yeah, because I was one that kind of took all the punches.
Right, that's right.
But it was the truth, and then in the end, that's what we ended up agreeing on. So it was like I wasn't far from it at all. It was just the truth.
So I was talking to a hardcore baseball fan, a friend of mine who I told, I'm talking to Blake Snell. He's like, what the hell? How'd you get Blake Snell? And he's like, man, I don't like, that's why it started to put a seed of doubt in my mind. He's like, I don't think he's going to do the interview with you. That's what my friend said. And I said, why? And he's like, because of the lockout. Like, he's not going to talk to you right now. And I was like, but this is the guy who went on Twitch and he speaks his mind and he's different than everyone else. And lo and behold, here you are. Could I ask, what is it like to be locked out? What is life like for you right now?
Yeah, everything's the same. I'm training, like spring training starting on time. The lockout doesn't hit any of us, I don't think, until spring training starts. And we're supposed to go see our teammates, everyone that we love seeing every day. Like when we don't get to go do that, that's when everyone's like, that's when I think it's going to hit everyone. Because right now I'm training, right. I'm locked in. Like all I'm thinking about is be ready for the first day of spring training, lock it in. So like every day I'm just locking it in, getting ready. But even if spring training doesn't start, I'm acting like I'm in spring training now, and I still got to talk to all my teammates. So that's fine. And then I'll probably even get to a point where, like, we have a pitchers Zoom meeting tomorrow, which I'm super excited about. We talk to all the pitchers, and we'll probably even find a way to where we talk to all the guys and we find a way to compete against each other and make spring training still spring training. I don't know, but that's for each team to decide, each player. But I definitely know once, the lockout really does get heated, everyone in that will want more answers because we want to play and we want, the fans to enjoy, the 162 game season.
What is your gut telling you right now? Do you think the start of the season gets delayed?
I don't think so, but if it does, I can't control that.
Right.
I'm okay with, trusting the union. I mean, I know the union has our back and they're doing what's best for us and the fans. So it doesn't bother me that we're doing what's best for the game.
Do you keep up with like every time Passan puts out an article or, do you read everything or you're just kind of letting it?
No, I let it go.
happen?
I love
Really?
Ken Rosenthal and Passan, though. They're both they're great. You can
Yeah.
talk to them whenever. They'll talk to you about they'll let you know anything. And they're very they're just good at their jobs. Really good.
But you're not keeping up with like the daily updates and all that stuff.
Nah. Cause I don't no shot.
We were talking earlier about like you being called tone deaf and stuff like that. I grew up in Montreal. I was a hardcore Montreal Expos fan.
Yeah.
I know you're born in 1992, so you were too young at the time. But 1994 was going to be our year. We were finally going to win the World Series. We had the best team in baseball, 6 games up on the Braves, and then August 12th, 1994, the strike hits, and the city, the team never recovered. And it's the only time the World Series has been canceled. You know the whole story, right?
Yeah.
And it was just crazy that baseball would allow this to happen, that everyone allowed this to happen. And I feel like now it's not quite the same, but like we're still in the pandemic. People are still hurting. No one wants to hear about this, right? Like this is the best time, right? Hot stove, transactions, all that stuff. No one wants to hear about labor struggles and all this stuff. Baseball can't allow this to happen. Would you agree with that? That would be incredibly tone deaf for there to be a delay.
Yeah, I feel like, and what we're asking for isn't crazy. It's to make the game, more competitive, more fun for the fans. So every team is, in it to win it. So I don't see why, for me, it's confusing why we have a lockout. That's what, my whole time coming through the minors is you get to the big leagues to win. And now we're getting to the big leagues and there's teams developing to winning in 4 years. What is that? It doesn't make sense to me. And, it's the big leagues and it's all about winning. It's not about developing. When you get to the big leagues, you win. The only thing that matters is winning. If you can't help win, you get sent down. And you're seeing a lot of good players that can really help. They don't get paid and they don't get, compensated what they deserve because now we have a younger guy that's cheaper and they'll take him 3 to 4 years, to get better, but they don't see the value in the veteran guy that's played for 6 years and he's a pretty good player, not an all-star, but he can help make your team better and he knows how to, play team ball. So when we need to get a guy to, bunt a guy over or, hit the ball to the other side of the field to get that runner over or to hit a deep fly ball, he's I'll sacrifice this at bat for us to score. He's thinking that way to where a rookie's you're coming up, you got to get your numbers up. And that's how you make your living. So it's just 2 different, thought processes and they don't pay the veteran. And that's what helps teams get really good and win a lot more and be way more competitive. But there's a lot of things I don't know everything about what we're really asking for because I'm focusing on being the best baseball player I can be for my team. And I trust the union. I talk to them. I ask them questions. And I've always, since day one, trusted them and love everything they're doing to make the game better. So we'll see.
Last thing on all this, does this mean you can't talk to your pitching coach? You can't talk to anyone on the team?
No, and it hurts.
That's crazy.
Hurts. Yeah, and that sucks because I have really close relationships with the coaching staff. This is a new coaching staff, but I know that for me personally, the coaching staff in Tampa, I still talk to a lot of those guys, a lot, very often. And not being able to talk to them, that sucks. Especially Kyle Snyder, the pitching coach down there. That's they're my second father. I love that man. And not being able to talk to him for, majority of the offseason, that's been, I hate it.
Speaking of Tampa, obviously you had a great start to your career there. Cy Young, made it to the World Series, all that. It seemed to have really affected you when you got traded. You really loved being a Tampa Bay Ray. Why was it so special for you? Why did you have such a connection with that community?
Well, I love the fan base. It was it wasn't a crazy fan base, very little, but the people that did like the Rays, they loved them and they loved the players and they were always backing us. and they were never talking crap about us, like always on our side. And then even, always being the underdog, and then seeing like the coaching staff, the GMs, the owner, like they all were for us. They all wanted us to be the best. And then when you look around at the talent that we had, and they were able to put such a talented team for what they were spending together, it was just everything to me. And then they grew me up. I lived in Florida for a long time. I really started to love being in Florida. I miss Florida every day. But I grew really close to the coaching staff. The players, they cycled through, but I grew close to a lot of those players that I did come up with, that were even below me as well. And I just loved everything about that organization. And I never felt, the thing I loved most is like I could go out anywhere there and I never was talked to, never recognized, ever. I went out, this story I'll never forget. I went out after I won the Cy Young. I went to this place in Tampa, Daily Eats. We're playing the Yankees. Me and Aaron Judge go to get, we're going there to get food. We're like waiting outside, me and Aaron Judge. And this lady comes up and goes like, "Oh, Aaron Judge," like gets all excited. This is in my city, Tampa. And I'm like, "Hey, I'll take the picture." And Judge is sitting there like, "What?"
Wow.
And he's like, "Do you know who's taking the picture?" And I was like, "I'm his cousin. Don't worry, smile." Like, and I'm just like, I'm not letting him say it. And then she finally realizes me because Judge won't let it go. And I keep saying like, "No, I'm his cousin," like he's joking. Like, but like in my city, like they don't even, like majority of the people don't even know who I am. And that was amazing. Like I could just go do whatever and no one even knew.
All right, we'll get back to the San Diego Padres star Blake Snell in a moment. But first, I do want to tell you about one of our sponsors today, our good friends over at Expressvpn. Yes, we love Expressvpn. And if you've been listening to me for a long time, you know how active I am on social media. And I can't tell you how many times through the years I've seen some really prominent people get their accounts hacked. I mean, it's happened to Selena Gomez, it's happened to Paul Pierce, even my dear old friend, Chael P. It can happen to stars like them. It can happen to you and I. Just imagine how easy it is for people to hack us on a daily basis. That's why I use ExpressVPN. It's true. I use them and I love them. And I use them to safeguard my personal data online. According to recent reports, hackers can make up to $1,000 from selling someone's personal information on the dark web, making people like me and you easy, lucrative targets, especially when you connect to public Wi Fi in a coffee shop or an airport. ExpressVPN is an app that funnels your data through a secure, encrypted tunnel so that no matter what device you use, you can have peace of mind every time you use the internet. The app connects with just one click, it is lightning fast, and the best part is ExpressVPN works on up to 5 devices simultaneously so you and your whole family can stay protected. And if you visit expressvpn.com/Helwani right now, you can arm yourself with an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. Again, that's expressvpn.com/Helwani. Please support them because they support us. All right, now back to my conversation with Blake Snell. Why do you think it hasn't worked there? Like, why don't they draw a lot? It actually reminds me a lot of Montreal, the crowds. I went to one game several years ago, actually when they were playing the Yankees before UFC in 2016. And, it's sparse crowds. Even in the playoffs, it's sometimes not even full. Why do you think it hasn't worked in Tampa?
Well, I think it's the location. You got to put it in Tampa. It's in St. Petersburg. So that bridge and crossing and bringing all that traffic over, like it won't work. And then on top of that, like, I mean, the biggest name we had was really Longoria, Price, but they never keep those guys, all the big time guys that they should keep. And, fans will have someone to cheer for 20 years. They don't keep them. They keep them for, I was there, 4 years, like gone. And I signed a deal to try to stay there. Like I didn't want to leave. And even then, gone. Longo signs a big deal, gone. Price, gone at 6 years, 6.5 years, whatever what. Like, they don't keep anyone past that. So them signing Wander and locking him up for 12 years or whatever, like they got a shot. Like at that'll be the longest tenured Ray, but if they keep him that whole time, but they don't keep anybody. So it's hard for fans to be excited about a team when every year the roster is different. It's different. It's different. And then by the time you really like somebody, he's gone. Like
So And that's actually exactly what happened to the Expos back in the day. We would develop guys and then they would get traded off. And now there's a lot of people holding out hope that they're going to do this split schedule thing. I'm sure you've probably heard of it.
Yeah, I hated it.
Well, I don't understand. I mean, I would love to have baseball back in Montreal, but if I'm being honest, I can't see any scenario where the Players Association would agree. Why would any player sign up to play in two different cities, two different countries, right? It's absurd.
Yeah, and then sign a 3-month lease in
Yeah.
one spot, a 3-month lease in another. Like, you know how hard that is and how much stress that is on that player? Like, oh my, what? They're never going to be home. They'll never
Right.
feel like they're at home.
It doesn't seem, I don't know what is going on, like the politics, but it seems insane that anyone would allow this to happen. Like, I'm not trying to get my hopes up here, right?
Yeah, no, it's either keep them in Tampa, or if it's not going to work and you can't find something to do there, then send them to Montreal and have them there full time. Like, I cannot see, like, I mean, ask them when the Blue Jays were in Dunedin and then they went up to Buffalo, and then like all of that traveling, like it gets tiring.
Mm-hmm.
It just wears you out even more than, you know, a team that gets to be in Boston the whole year. And like, that's home, that's comforting. They go home, they get to relax. But when you don't have a home, it's hard to relax.
Considering how you felt about the team when you got the word that you were being traded, did it feel like betrayal? Like, did it feel, I know it's the business, but did you take it personally?
The weirdest part about it was I kind of like saw it coming.
Oh.
Like, I never, like, even in Double A, like I was telling Ozzie Timmons, like, I ain't getting traded. Like, they ain't traded me. And then I would always say that. He's like, you never know, Blake. And he's like, he'd always tell me, you don't understand, this is business. And I was like, yeah, but I understand my value. They ain't trading me. They ain't trading me. I'd always say that to him. And then I started hearing rumors about, like, I was going to get traded to San Diego. And then I had people that were in San Diego that were like, yo, it might happen. And then I talked to Eric Neander, the GM. He's like, a month before I got traded, he's like, no, like, we're not trading you. It has to be something that we really think we're going to get a lot of value for, but we really don't see it. And then, like, as like Christmas hit, because I got traded right after that, I was like, I started feeling like pressure. I was like, oh, this happened. Like, I feel it. And then sure enough, like, I'm like, I messaged Eric. Eric messaged me and he goes, hey, I'm going to call you in a little bit. And I was like, I was with my girlfriend and I looked at her, I go, I'm getting traded. Mm-hmm. And then sure enough, he calls and then he's like, hey, like, we're trading you to San Diego. Like, don't tell anyone, blah, blah, blah. We talk about it. We talked for a while. I said, okay. So then I was in Chicago at the time. So then I ended up having to fly to Florida. I saw all the coaches, said, like, thank you, bye, I'm gonna miss y'all, love y'all, all of that. Even saw Eric.
Wow.
Said that, came to my house. And, like, it's just a respect. Like, they really do. Like, he let me know everything that was going on. So I never felt betrayed. I never felt like, oh, like they gave up on me or anything like that. Like, it's a business. I understand it. And, like, it sucks for me personally because I love everyone in Tampa. Love Cash, love Snell, like, everybody. I love everybody. So when I left, it, like, felt like I was leaving my family more than anything. So, like, it sucked. But at the same time, I understand it's a business. I'm older now. I've seen this happen every year with all of the guys I looked up to. So I understood it.
How often do you think about World Series Game 6, 2020? How often does that come up in your mind? And just, you know, it was like the perfect storm of analytics and, like, the old guard coming together. You're pitching the game of your life in the World Series. You're trying to survive, and they take you out against the Dodgers, and the Dodgers end up winning. And your manager, Kevin Cash, was blamed. You weren't blamed. You handled it incredibly well. I thought you showed up to the press conference. You answered everything. You know, again, heart on your sleeve. Yeah. But how often do you think about that?
Not as much as people would think. Like, I think about it, like, once or twice. I still haven't watched it.
Really?
Nah.
The whole game?
I'll see, like, highlights and stuff, but I won't watch it. Yeah.
Hurts too much?
What was the last time I played as a Ray? You know?
Yeah.
It was my best game that I played for the Rays. I got traded after that. And then, like, to see, like, the facial expressions of, like, my pitching coach and the bench coach and hitting coach and all the coaches that I like, the players, like, the guys that I was going to war with, like, I don't want to see their faces. I don't want to see, like, what they like, their expressions of how they felt, how confused they were. Like I remember those feelings so like I remember all those expressions so clear. So because like I don't know if I'll ever get to the World Series again. I'm on one of the best teams in baseball. If we can get to the World Series, doesn't mean we're going to. Like I know how hard it was to get there. So it's just like it's hard to like look at it in any light. I think when I'm done playing, I'll look at it. For right now, I'm just so forward thinking. Like I always think like, what's next? What can I do to be better? And like it's really helped me a lot to where I don't really, reflect on that. But I know once I'm done, like playing, and I look at that, yeah, that'll probably hurt. Because I remember saying like that was the first time I ever saw my dad like really cry. Like he cried a little bit when his mom passed, and I was like his everything. But he cried. This man was bawling after that game, and I was like, I didn't even know what to say, dude. I was just like, whoa. Like it was really crazy to me to see him finally get emotional for me for the first time. So like I remember that really vividly. But yeah, I just can't watch it.
You wrote a great piece for Players Tribune about that, about calling your dad on FaceTime and seeing him cry. Your dad has been a part of your life in terms of baseball, and since a former minor league player, right, a former coach too. What was he sad about? Was he sad that you lost? Was he sad that you were wrong? Was it like what ultimately led this guy who you say didn't even cry when his mother passed away to show that kind of emotion?
Well, I'm his kid, so I feel like he kind of felt the pain for me. And then he knew what I was gonna do. Like I was talking to this man, I said like, I'm going 9 and like I'm putting the team on my back. Like we're beat up. Like our bullpen's been doing everything for us. Like I need to step up. And like I just kept saying like I have to go 9. I have to go 9. Like the whole time I'm pitching, like all I'm thinking about is like go 9 innings. Like give you everything you got, 120 pitches. Like you're going 9. And like he knew how bad I wanted to go 9 innings. He knew how bad I wanted to win that for the team. Like he just knew, like, because when I tell you I was studying this team, like, oh my God, I was sitting, like, I would watch how these guys walk by me in the hallway because we're in the same hotel.
Right, yeah.
I was watching how they talk to their families. I was watching like their swag, their confidence, their walk, their everything. Like I wanted to know everything about these guys. I wanted even to see how they talked. Like I would say what's up to them just to hear how they talked, hear their voice, hear like I was so dialed in and I was so like just focused on beating this team. And I was like, we're not losing. I know Charlie Morton's game 7, and Charlie Morton in game 7 that's a special human. So I was like, I just got to get him the ball. So then going through all of that, I get pulled. It was just really hard. So I see why he cried.
Do you think Kevin Cash does that all over again the exact same way? Have you ever asked him?
I don't think he would. Yeah. I mean, Kevin Cash, he's going to be honest. He ain't going to lie. I mean, I think he knows where he went wrong, and I think that's going to make him a better manager. He's that good and smart.
It's an amazing thing, and I think that people are going to keep looking back at that moment, in terms of analytics, all that. I would imagine you fall on the side of like, we need to chill. Like if someone's feeling it, don't go by the book. Like listen to the player, right? Listen to how he's feeling. Look at what he's doing. Correct?
100%. And Cash knows that now. But without that, everything would have been the same way moving forward. So we needed that to move forward, to understand, what this actually means. And sometimes you got to trust your gut. And Cash knows that. Like he'll admit he was wrong on that, but at the same time, if he didn't do that, he wouldn't have learned what he learned. So, but he's such a good manager. Like I couldn't even get mad at him or upset. Like I trust him, and I know he wants to win. So I still to this day I don't get upset at him for doing what he did.
Yeah,
like inside I get upset, and I wanted to keep going, but he wants to win too. And if he feels like that was his best option, like then go with it. Like I trust him.
I thought it was very cool how you didn't throw him under the bus afterwards, and still don't throw him under the bus or try to show him up or anything like that. I just want to ask a couple more questions if I can, and then I'll let you go. Is that okay? Your big league debut, April 23rd, 2016 at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
Could you even put into words the nerves that a young man has making his debut at Yankee Stadium? Like how nervous I'd be, I'd be in the bathroom probably for 20 hours leading up to that. Were you nervous? Because I can't even imagine what that felt like.
I wasn't nervous at all, honestly.
Really?
Being like 100% honest. I literally like I just felt like when I got there, I was like, this is my moment. Like, this is my time. Like, I put in 5.5 years of work in pro ball just to get here. Like, I've earned this. I'm not letting this go to waste. And like, that's how I processed it. It was like, this is my moment. And like, I'm taking advantage of it. And not once was I nervous. I mean, I get the jitters and like all of that, but it's not because I'm nervous. It's because like, I can't wait. Like, I can't wait to like get my story and like my moment rolling and like my time in the big leagues going. So that's how I looked at it. And there was 44,000 people. It was like a Babe Ruth bobblehead night or day. And it was packed. And I remember like the first time going in the bullpen, fans are talking crap. I'm like, okay, I like this. I was getting excited. And I knew I was gonna face A-Rod. Like I looked up to A-Rod when he was with the Mariners. Like him and Griffey were the guys that like did it for me. Like I was like, I'm gonna get to the big leagues because of those guys. So when I got to play A-Rod, I was stoked. And the only thing I take from that is like the only thing that really truly matters from my debut is like I pitched to A-Rod. He almost took me deep, literally right to the warning track. And then I struck him out and I was like, I will never forget this day. Like I struck A-Rod out. That was my idol, like one of my idols growing up. And like that was the coolest thing for me.
I love how you represent Seattle. You're very proud of where you're from. I know you also grew up a big basketball fan. In an alternate universe, would the dream have been to make it to the NBA? Because it sounds like basketball was your first love, even before
Yeah,
baseball.
no, 100%. And then when I looked, I was like, I'm not, I'm not that athletic. Like I got to be a lethal shooter with some pretty good defense. But these guys like that I was going against that were the best in my state. I mean, I just wasn't as good as them. And I was like, I could compete. And if I really put my mind to it, I could be a good player, but nowhere near the player I'll be in baseball. So then I just had to be like, okay, like hoop dreams is not it for me. I had fun with that. I love watching basketball. I love it. But baseball is like, I can really dominate in baseball and I can be really good. And like everything in my life kind of set up that way. My dad had a baseball facility. I was there every day. My dad was coaching me every day in baseball. Like my advantage was baseball, and I saw that at a young age. So I was like, look, I can love playing basketball and I can play it. It's going to make me a better athlete overall for baseball. I played football to make me a better athlete for baseball. But then once I had to start focusing on baseball my sophomore year, that's all I did was baseball.
So you can kind of sympathize where I come from as an Expos fan, like Seattle losing the Sonics. It's kind of
Yeah,
like this hole in your heart. Everyone wants to see the team come back. They have to come back to Seattle.
yeah.
I mean, I know you were a little young, right, when they left. Did you ever go to games, or were you too young?
I did go to the Key Arena. I watched games. And then the all I want to happen is we lost Kevin Durant and
Yeah.
Westbrook. I want like the Sonics to come back, and I want Russ and KD to reunite in
Oh
Seattle.
man, that would be
Like, that's
sick.
all I want. And then even
We're running out of time with Russ, but
yeah,
clock
I
is
mean,
ticking.
yeah. I hope the Sonics come back soon, and hopefully Russ and KD can come back to Seattle and do something special there.
I apologize if this is an like kind of uncomfortable question, but before your career is over, would you like to play for the Mariners? Would that be a
Um,
dream?
I mean, I've never said it like publicly, but I like the most I can say is I love Seattle.
Fair enough.
And yeah, like I, I wouldn't mind it. Like obviously I'm from Seattle. Everything I've ever like done growing up, loving has been Seattle. So I mean, I would like to play in Seattle. It's not like a set goal. I really like where I'm at in San Diego. So
hmm
it's it's just whoever wants me, like I'll play. I just want to win. Like I think that's really where it comes from. Like I've gotten comfortable wherever I lived and I enjoy those moments. So I think wherever I play next, I just want to win. And
Well,
that's really my
you're with a great team with a superstar face of the team, right? Fernando Tatis Jr.
yeah.
A bit of a scrapper himself. Him and Machado getting into it in the dugout there. I saw that a couple. That was
That's
interesting.
like
But
they're brothers. Like that's just them like
you
Manny and
fight.
Tom. Yeah, like I didn't see anything wrong. I'm like, that's them like trying to be better. Like
Yeah.
they're literally brothers. So I was like, that didn't even bother me. I wasn't even there, and I saw that, and I was like, Manny just wants Toddy to be more, and they're gonna be best. Like they'll literally go in the clubhouse and just laugh at each other 2 seconds later. So people saw a lot in that, but that's like Manny being the older brother.
So I really hope that this lockout thing doesn't extend because I do think that baseball is in a great place in terms of young stars. Uh,
Yes.
I'm a Blue Jays fan now because I had to adopt the other Canadian team.
Yeah.
I love Vladdy
100%.
Jr. Because his dad I grew up watching in Montreal, and he reminds me so much of his dad, the way he swings at everything and all that. And they're a very young team and a very fun team, and they're
Yeah.
like there's a bunch of sons of guys that I grew up watching,
Yeah.
right? Like Biggio and Bichette and all that stuff. I would love to know from you in closing the one thing about baseball that drives me nuts. It's like with your guy Tatis, they get mad at him for flipping the bat. They get mad when anyone shows personality. You know, I come from the fight game, right? And it's like
Yeah.
Izzy, right? Izzy, the more flashy you are, the better, right? Connor, the
Yeah.
crazier you are, the better. Why is baseball so like they're so obsessed with these unwritten rules and all this bullshit? Like I want to see you guys talk trash. I want to see bat flips. I want to see guys showing up other guys. Isn't that what it should? Isn't that what like kids want? That's what this generation wants. Why does baseball try to stifle that continuously?
Yeah, they don't want it to get out of hand, and I don't think the players that play baseball would do that anyways. Like I don't feel like that's them. I do see the young talent coming in, and I'm for it. Like be yourself, like 100%. So I don't get upset. Like if you're gonna pimp a homer off me or you're gonna do whatever, I'm coming right back. So it does not matter. I don't care what anyone says. So if someone was to pimp one off me, when I strike you out, I will do something, and you will see it and know it. Like that's just who I am, and that's like my fun and like my nature. Like, all right, you got me. Well, I'm gonna get you. Like, there's no way around that. I don't know why baseball does that because we have a lot of youth in the game right now, and it's fun and it's exciting, and I don't know why they do that. But I'll tell you what, your Blue Jays team's really good, and they got a really good manager in Charlie, a really good manager. So
Former Tampa, right? Yeah.
yeah, y'all can really, yeah, you guys can do some really good things.
I was heartbroken. Last game of the season, I mean, I thought that they were better than the Red Sox and Yankees and should have made it to the postseason. Vladdy's special, right? I mean, that guy can hit
What
anything,
he did
anywhere.
to get ready for that year that he had last year, I mean, props to him. I
Lost all
didn't.
that weight.
So yeah, I mean, I'm happy for him.
You did whoop their ass though in the playoffs in 2020. I mean, you whooped their ass. It wasn't even close that series. But you know, I forgive you for it.
Yeah, but they're young. They're a young team, so they gotta learn what it's like to play in the playoffs. To where that was our second year getting there, we knew what we were doing. We were very focused and driven, and we just had such a good pitching staff and such a good team that we were very confident.
Do you want to go back to that playoff format, or do you like it the more traditional way? You know, when they let like the 8 teams in.
Yeah, I like the lead. I like where we're at now. I don't want to
Okay.
get more teams in because then you're just letting them get in. I want to feel like we earned it. Like we got here because we earned it.
You're the man, Blake. Really, I have a lot of respect for you. The way you conduct yourself, I mean, the stuff that you're doing with kids is incredible. And we share a mutual dissatisfaction of one Dylan Dennis. So it's tremendous. I
Oh,
love it. I love the
perfect.
way we met. It's amazing.
Yeah,
I wish you the best, and I hope that we get to see you come late February when pitchers and catchers report, and then of course when the season starts. You have a fan for life here, so all the best to you, my man. Have a great upcoming season, and really thank you for giving us this time. I really appreciate it.
yeah, no, I appreciate it a lot as well. And when I'm in your city, I'm gonna be
Let's
calling you.
go.
We'll figure it out.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Ariel Helwani Show. If you want to check out some of our old episodes, or if you want to stay up to date with all the great things that we are doing here, please do like and subscribe to this here page. Trust me, some really cool things are coming up.